Sure. Thank you, El Marie. And for everybody that wasn't in attendance or didn't get a chance to review my background prior to the webinar, my name is Marty McDonald. I am co-founder of Bad Rhino Inc., and we are a social media marketing firm based in Wayne, Pennsylvania. We have a team of about 15 people focused on small businesses, individuals around social media marketing strategy. Prior to that, and still I have some toes in it, is I've been a recruiter or headhunter at various different levels of my career, including recruitment process outsourcing, so RPO recruiting, traditional headhunting, as well as being a lead talent acquisition for a software company recently that I had pieces of social media in order to attract new talent to the organization. Just a very high level, you're going to see a little bit about me as I start to share through the social media and utilizing my own profiles, but that's just a little bit about me. I appreciate the time that you're spending on this webinar today, and as El Marie said, this will be fairly interactive. If you're able to take notes, go right ahead, but it might be better if you just take a look at the screen. I'm going to walk you through a few different things today. Don't worry, I'm going to figure out a way to get to El Marie so everybody can get a checklist that I'm going to go out, that's going to go out after today, that'll go through everything that I do today. So I'm going to start off here and share my desktop. And El Marie, I know this will take like a second or two, but can you see my desktop? Should be a picture of me again. Okay, cool. So as I said, some of this today might go right over your head a little bit, especially if you're not utilizing any of this. What we'll do is I will get that checklist along with some notes from today over to El Marie, and she can get it out to everybody that attends. But what we're going to cover today is probably the biggest topic that I get asked about is, well, Marty, how in the world am I supposed to fit this into my busy schedule? I'm at work, I have things to do. How do I get social media not only on my schedule, but how do I fit it in? And I'm going to walk you through, at the end of this, exactly what I do on a daily basis and exactly what you can do on a daily basis to make it pretty quick and easy. But first off, we're going to just start off with which three we're going to cover today. So we are going to cover LinkedIn. And I've actually talked to some of you after my presentation in June and going over and updating their social media profiles, which has been great. But if you haven't been out on LinkedIn, what I'm scrolling through right now is specifically my profile and just what a profile looks like. Looks like a resume, has some recommendations on there. You have companies that I've worked with in the past, where I've been. You can see the actual companies, you can see the titles, and just all your background, anybody that's got any endorsements, your education, things that I'm interested in. They've actually kind of dismantled this a little bit on LinkedIn. They're still searchable though, which is pretty cool for a variety of reasons, but the interests have taken a back seat. You have honors and awards, organizations I belong to, my recommendations more in detail, different connections that I have, and who I'm following. So just running down there is just being a baseline for a couple of things that we're going to talk about on the profile and how to utilize it on a daily basis. So moving along, I'm just going to go to the home page here on LinkedIn, and this is changing constantly. Pretty much almost weekly recently, as LinkedIn goes through many changes, becomes a tool not only for communication and interacting with professionals online, but also is becoming a lot of groups, a lot more social. It's becoming a pseudo job board. There's a lot of things that LinkedIn is, and it's pretty powerful with the information that is on there. So this is the home page. You have your home. You have profile, which will take you right to your profile. You have your network, which is all your contacts, finding connections. You can find alumni. And then there's jobs, interests. Interests are something we're gonna take a look at in a minute here with groups. So that's on a very high level. Just all you need to know about LinkedIn to get started is set up your profile, and you'll have a homepage just like this. So that's just part one, and we'll come back to LinkedIn. And Elmarie, is it possible to mute out the rest of the lines, because I'm getting a lot of background noise from everybody? We really appreciate it. All right, that definitely cleared some of that up. Thank you. So on the LinkedIn homepage, as we went through the profile and the homepage here, we're going to come back to two key points on here, but I just want to give everybody a little bit of a baseline today before we jump into everything. The next one I'm just going to go to really quick is just Twitter. It's my account. If you have a Twitter account, this is what yours would look like when you come in. Actually, it would look like the home page here. Just have your tweets right in here of the people that you follow. This is my profile page. For those that you attended the session that we had in June, you probably saw some of this, but you'll see some of the tweets that I had out today. Just random things, not all business related. Some are just retweets about certain things, things that I like. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that on how you interact there really quick during your day. So that's just Twitter. And then the last one we'll cover is Facebook. This is the Bad Rhino homepage on Facebook. Here's my personal page. As you'll see, I'm a Flyers fan. Ron Hextall came back. It's more of a personal thing. This was one of our team members at Bad Rhino drew a picture, and I posted it there. Just a little bit of personal stuff on Facebook. So it's a little different channel. So you have LinkedIn, professional, Facebook. Again, it can be professional, but it's a little more personal. And Twitter, which is kind of a combination on both. And we're going to utilize these three channels and how you can communicate and get out there and enhance your social presence through each by some quick things every day. So a couple of tools that I want to mention, and if you are taking notes, you might want to just write these down. Again, this will go out there through everybody. I'll have a whole list, but the first one is TweetDeck. Now, this is something that's gone through a ton of different changes recently, but when you start to look at tools to arrange your Twitter feed, you can even put your Facebook feed on here. You can also put your LinkedIn and a few others as different social media channels grow. TweetDeck is a tool that you'll see that you can monitor everything. I mentioned this one because it is one that a lot of people use for many years and then started to get away from. But a lot of people have been still utilizing it. It's not one that I recommend, but if you're going out on your own and looking for an app to manage all of your social media channels, TweetDeck is out there, and it's one that I feel personally is a little bit cumbersome, but you can still utilize it, and you might see it mentioned in doing your research. The one I do recommend, and the one I really, really like, is Hootsuite. And I don't know if I'm logged in here. I don't think I am. Good. Because I have all Bad Rhino clients on here that I have access to. What Hootsuite is, and it's HOOTSUITE.com. It's got a little owl on there. Okay. What this is a social media management tool, and it can set everything up in a quick dashboard. And the cool thing is as long as you only have a handful of accounts, you can utilize it for free. Which makes it very easy. TweetDeck is also free, and it makes it a quick way to have everything right at your fingertips, either during the day or even during this 20-minute exercise that we're going to walk you through to quickly update all your social media channels. It makes things easy to find, makes things easy to just track what you're looking for. You can, again, manage multiple social networks, so you can have your LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook right there at your fingertips and update them all at the same time. So it can save you some time. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're talking about today and having this follow-up webinar, is how everybody can save some time in doing this. It's the daunting task that most people come to us about, where they say, I know I need to be doing this, but I don't have the time. Hootsuite is something that you can help manage that and help make it easy for you to track it. You can get responses on there. It looks like a big graph page, and let me just log in really quick here into one of my accounts. I have two, just so hopefully this is the right password. Yep, and this is the right one. Good. So you'll see it, and you can see it right on here. You have everything is just all my Twitter stuff, just right here, and it makes it easier than just having one column. Once you get used to it, this looks actually easier having 3 columns in there once you start interacting. Now, for some of you on the line here, you might be looking at this and go, Marty, this is even more confusing to me, and that's okay. I totally understand that, but I want to give some of the other folks that are more advanced on here just a tool that they can utilize that makes it pretty quick to start really formulating a strategy to update all your social media channels quickly during the day without having to log in to each individual one, or you might be traveling on your phone. Hootsuite's got a great app for Android as well as the iPhone, so you can utilize it on the go. I find it easy once I got into it to utilize a tool like that, because I did have all my social networks on here. And you'll see some of our clients on here because I have a few of them on here as tests. So you'll see all your networks on here. I can log into my Twitter account. I have a couple others that are my personally that I use as test accounts, and then I also have my LinkedIn account. So I can update my LinkedIn page right from here, and I can do it all at once. Again, it's just something that I wanted to share with you today, and if you're feeling confused about it, you can ignore this part or come back to it later. But I do think it's important to utilize the tools to make your day a little bit easier and leverage your time a little bit better, especially when you get a little used to being in all these social channels. So that's Hootsuite, and again, the other one is TweetDeck. That is TweetDeck. And Hootsuite again is HOOTSUITE.com. Both are free tools. They also have paid versions. I don't know if anybody online would be interested in that. I don't think so, but you never know. But just to let you know that there are more advanced ones where you can get analytics and things from that. So those are the tools, and a couple of quick things before we get into the actual how to do this every day. Kind of the do's and don'ts. We went through LinkedIn and that being professional, having a professional slant, and Facebook having a little bit more of a personal slant, and sometimes they do cross, and it's okay. That's the biggest thing I want to stress today. When everyone comes at me with the do's and don'ts here, and especially going really quick on trying to do this day in, day out, sometimes you quote unquote cross those streams of communication. And I just want to let everybody know that if you posted a personal link on LinkedIn, now I'm not talking about pictures of your family, I'm not talking about things that you might have done on the weekend, but if you put something on there by accident that is something about you're a sports fan, something about the last night's baseball all-star game, or something about upcoming Eagles training camp, that's not going to look as funny on LinkedIn anymore. It's becoming more of a social gathering place. Now, do you want to do that every day? No, you want to keep it professional. But rule of thumb, LinkedIn professional, Facebook personal, and then Twitter, it can be a combination of both. So what I want to do is, it's now 2:19 on my computer, is I want to walk through how you can do this in 20 minutes or less. Now, I'm going to keep it to 2:40, but we'll probably be done beforehand, and we might go just a little bit longer just because I'm going to show you a couple extra steps. But I want to show you that and how you can start your day. So the one thing that you want to do is log into each one. If you're just starting out, start it exactly the way I'm showing you. and it'll start to have a little bit of repetition. One last thing before we get started is everyone says, do I have to do this every day? No, you don't have to do it every day. Once you find out how easy it is, people become a little addicted to it. They start finding things on Twitter and they start reading things. So they might be in there a little bit more than they are LinkedIn, or vice versa, or the same thing with Facebook. But you don't have to do it every day. The key is to just be consistent. So 2, 3, 4 times during the week is probably good enough. If you have something that you're trying to get out, if you're looking for a job or you're looking for resources, that might be something that you want to get out there a little bit more often, 1, 2 times a day during the work week, and maybe even once or twice on a weekend. So there's a lot of things that you can do to get started in there, but you don't have to worry about, I missed my LinkedIn update today. Not really like that. You want to post things that are relevant to you and to what you're doing. So let's get into it. So the best way to start on LinkedIn is I go down, and I have just a caveat here. I have 3,500 LinkedIn connections. So my news feed here, when I refresh, updates every second, and there's usually 20 or so new things on there every time I refresh. So I scroll down. Susan is a friend of mine. She is over in New Jersey. Todd here, starts a lot of discussions on the MBA network, MBA online network. Philadelphia Business Journal is somebody I follow, and I also get their publication and read quite a bit, actually. Let's see what else we have on here. And I'll just scroll through just like I'm doing now. Jason's a recruiter, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine that I've known mostly through social media, but I'll see he's looking for a senior SQL Server SSIS developer. I'm not quite sure what that is. And I'll scroll through here just like I'm doing. There's Todd again. See, he's always all over all the MBA stuff. Again, he's back here in the weekend MBA group. Just groups that I've been in, and these are what my network is doing. You'll see a lot of jobs posted on here. Vicky is a recruiter who I've known. She has her own search company in Philadelphia. Dwight is in marketing and social media marketing, and he's always putting stuff around SEO. So just to give you an idea, I have all this. Yours is going to look a little bit different. But since we're on the clock here, what I try and do is simply Rip and I used to work together down at DuPont. Here he has career lessons from a sushi chef. Now, I look for things, and most of these things in here are related to things I like because they're my connections. So I think that's pretty interesting. So I'm just going to take a quick look at it, and I pop it up, and here it is a movie about the secrets of attaining mastery. All right, not quite sure. And I'll go through it real quick. Now, caveat here is I did read this earlier today, so I will buzz through it. And, if I'm feeling it or if I like it, I might share it. But it's not somebody I follow. I just happen to read it. So I'm just going to go back. But the whole point is you're going to want to start interacting. So let me find that. And once it come back up, I'll show you what the first step is. So I always look for something that's interesting from a colleague or a former colleague or a connection. So Rip, I'm going to like it. Rip, that was interesting to read over lunch. Hope all is well. Rip is down at Aramark, so a lot of the things that he does post is career lessons around food, which is important because he's a recruiter. So what he's doing is putting things out there that are related to careers and also have a food slant. So that's why he put a career lessons from a sushi chef on here, and it happened to be on LinkedIn. So he quickly shared it. So I'm just going to comment, and activity 1 is done. Just find one thing, comment on it, and now you have some activity going on. Second thing you want to do when you get started is LinkedIn has this beautiful little thing about how to, recommends the news for you. And this is based off of a couple of things. You might follow some influencers, which are listed here. And these people are putting things out there that might be of interest to you, or the people that you follow. So it's suggesting channels, and that's what LinkedIn is really doing. It's really what all social media is channels. So for me, it's based on 5 channels you may like. Recruiting and hiring. Obviously, it's been a big part of my career. I've been a career coach and still am on a part-time basis, so I get a lot of career updates. Social impact, I'm not quite sure what this one is about, but I would imagine it's related to social media. Leadership and management, and all of these I can quickly follow or unfollow. Okay, and obviously other ones that they have suggestions for me: social media, retail, my best career mistake. So LinkedIn is starting to pull together a lot, and I mean a lot of things, to get more content on there. And when I said for the influencers, this is where it takes you. People that are putting things out there that are going to be relative to what your background is, or things that you follow. So the next step after we like and comment on somebody is we want to find something to share. And it's the easiest way to go right to something here. I stay away from anything that kind of looks political on LinkedIn. As much as some of the things that our president writes, I might agree or disagree with. I definitely don't want to put that out on LinkedIn. I always look for things that are relative to me, relative to things that I like. Business travel, I traveled a ton over the past few years, so that's something that I always get a chuckle when I put things out there. So let's start with something like this. Money-saving hotel tips. This is from CNN. Fox News, travel guidebooks to be back in print this fall. I knew that was a big thing, that comes out. So it starts to see like a whole news feed on here. The world's fastest business jet. Nothing. Aha, here we go. Biggest stress for business travelers, lack of internet. What I'll do is I'll take a look at this. Now this is something that I can absolutely relate to. When you need to answer an email and you're traveling overnight to Europe, or even just a shorter trip somewhere, and you're trying to get a hold of somebody. And I'll read it, just part of my daily thing, just like you would read the newspaper, just like you would read something else in the morning. This is all you're looking to do. You want to like something, you want to comment on something, and you want to find something that you could share. So I will take a quick look at this, I'll skim it, and I'll read. I'm obviously going to read this. This is great. Living on the road it wears on you. It turns you into a survivalist. That's a great little quote in there. And you're going to go through all this really quick. It's something that I can relate to very fast. So I don't have to read the entire thing. I am going to skim it. I am going to make sure that it comes from some place that is at least reputable. If this is somebody's blog, if this is somebody's article that's written, and I don't know the web domain, like I know USA Today, I feel comfortable in sharing something from USA Today because it's innocuous. It's not going to put somebody's blog out there front and center like I'm supporting, where they wrote one post on travel, but the rest of their posts are on something that I don't want to be a part of. So you do want to be cautious of what you share, so you just have to skim it. And the first couple of things that you skim is pick up a highlight on there, that survivalist comment, and you might want to pick up, hey, here's some things on here that you may agree or disagree with, and then you just want to check the domain, okay? And again, if this is going too fast, there's going to be a checklist, and I will send out a step-by-step. This is just a high level. So I'll take this piece of content, and here it is, back here at the USA, we're back on LinkedIn, and all I'm going to do is share it, and I'm going to simply do one thing. And if you take nothing else from today about how to interact on social media, this is the one thing I want everybody just to understand as a baseline, and you can start to work off of everything else, a little bit later on. You want to be engaging in some way, and the easiest way to be engaging is to just simply ask a question. And I'm going to simply type in here, for all my traveling friends, do you agree with this? Are you really stressed about no access to internet? Simple as that. I'm just going to post it to my updates and close that window. Go back to the beginning of LinkedIn, and I've done two things, and I'll show you some of the other things I did today. I did this as an example. So I simply, for RIP, I liked it and I added a comment on there. For Vicky, she filled a corporate recruiter. I just liked it. See, there's a couple other people that had liked it on there. Elizabeth, who I used to work with, I thought this was a great article this morning that she had posted out there. She just shared it from Inc.com, and she put the comment in there, food for thought. Why being social makes you a better leader, and I thought it was interesting. And you see a lot of different things floating out there that you want to just like. It just shows up here, and I liked a lot more things this morning than I normally do. Just for illustration today, Lynn is another recruiter. She was looking for something in the Bethlehem area. She's hiring for a contract position. It's an HR generalist. I probably would have liked that every day, just because I have quite a few colleagues in the HR discipline throughout the Philadelphia area. And the same thing here with Vicky. I just went in and liked them today. I shared an article this morning as well, and I also liked another one. That's a lot of activity, everybody. That's a ton. I did that for illustration purposes, just so you can see that things come from Inc.com, things come from things like Bullhorn, which are job postings. Again, another Bullhorn one. Just to give you an idea, as simple as that is, all we did was like something, we added a comment to something, and we shared one thing. Now, without all that explanation, that only takes about 5 to 7 minutes in the morning to do, and it's actually pretty quick to do. So we're going to leave LinkedIn, and we're going to go and check out Twitter. I don't want to stop sharing, so let's close that window. Now I'm going to refresh here. So on my Twitter page, a couple of things. You'll see I checked in at my office this morning. So I was at Bad Rhino. I checked in on Foursquare, just another social media. Brand.com, it's a Philadelphia company. They had an interesting article on a blog. I shared that this morning. And you'll see other things on here just about me. There's things on sports. There's things for other clients. We have some lawyers that are Bad Rhino clients, so I try and tweet out some information to attract sales. There's I was at the Poorhouse for my birthday on Saturday, so I had a couple beers. I played golf on Friday. And you'll see things on people's Twitter accounts that are not just business related. It's truly a combination. So every morning after I finish LinkedIn, and I normally go to LinkedIn first, I will take a couple of things that I like. So last night was the baseball all-star game, and I'll simply search on it. And what I'll use is the hashtag for Phillies. Hashtag is simply the #, plus a keyword, and you can search Twitter on there. We covered it a little bit during the presentation. If you need more information, I'm more than happy to cover that and answer questions on that. But just so you know, you can search Twitter, which makes it a very powerful tool to utilize, because you can utilize just about any topic out there. And I'll search a few things, once or twice a day, and it'll only take a couple minutes. So I'm going to search the Phillies, and the first one that pops up is from the Phillies themselves. Who's excited to see Don Brown in the All-Star game? Okay. That's always interesting. Here's Philly Sports from Philly.com. They're talking about the Philly Fanatic. Wilkie Lexus has a Phillies thing about Don Brown and Cliff Lee in here. So I might take one of these. I'm going to take the first one because I know who the Phillies are, and I'll just simply retweet. I'll retweet that so it'll go out in my news feed, and I'll show you what that looks like. right here. So it looks like it came from the Phillies. It was retweeted by Marty McDonald. I'm just putting that out there because I enjoy baseball, and I'm putting that out there just to kind of engage. Somebody might come back and have a conversation about, oh, Marty, I didn't know you were a Phillies fan, or Marty, I'm a Dodgers fan, for friends that I have in Los Angeles. It just shows who you are. Again, social media is about being social. So Twitter is a combination of both personal and professional. For professional, I would search a couple of different things. One, being a recruiter or a headhunter, I always would search the hashtag jobs. And I would look for something much like I did on LinkedIn, about something that's pretty quick to find, that's relevant to my professional career. So LinkedIn jobs, you can see them all the time. You could actually take this one step further. I'm going to take jobs and Philly, and this way you can find something local. Here's Rebecca. I don't know Rebecca. I actually know Hank. Rebecca here is looking for a .NET developer, full-time position with great benefits. So I will normally take a look. Her page is okay. I don't like pictures of a cat for a profile picture, but maybe not something I want to share or even read about. Philly.com HR jobs. Now that's something that I have quite a few in my network, so I may retweet this out. I'll just make sure it's a real job. There it is. It's in Monster. So okay, the link works, and I'll just retweet that out. Now, those are two quick things: one personal, one professional. That you could simply share. If you did that twice a day, here's what would happen: people would interact with you. They would start connecting with you. They would start. I posted a picture the other day of that. You saw that on Facebook. This picture, it actually went out to Twitter. And on Twitter, Tammy, who's a writer that works for me, asked if it was me or my business partner surfing. It's neither one of us. But that's the type of things that goes out. Nobody drew that picture and said, here's Marty or Rich. But I just shared the picture, and you start to get engagement. And that's what you're looking for. Tweeted out something. It was a retweet about Darren Dalton and what's going on with him. Again, being a Phillies fan, I just put that out there. Here, the Poorhouse, the restaurant that I was at on Friday for my birthday, actually favorited my tweet. They just said, hey, I like that. It's certain things people will say, I don't have time for Twitter. I find it good for quick conversations, quick things around either networking or marketing, or even just sharing personal things, whether it's about golf or sports or anything. You'll see this gentleman I met once in New York, and he always retweets me, and he always puts me up on the top of Twitter saying I'm one of the better recruiters he ever met, and he just tells everybody to follow you. And that's simple as that. We could spend, again, 4 hours just on Twitter, 4 hours just on LinkedIn, 4 hours on Facebook. But just to recap Twitter and having a few minutes is simply searching for something. Phillies, what we did, retweeting it, and then something that's, could be professional, or one or the other or both, depending on what your time is that day. Going back to those tools that we talked about, you can actually search this information on Hootsuite and then schedule it for the entire week. You could do it all in one day. You could spend 1 hour just doing this and put one tweet for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and be done. There's a lot of different variations to this, but I think the biggest thing is just getting in there and getting started. When I started, I didn't even know how any of this worked. I now have over 14,000 tweets. When I started this, if you said, hey Marty, you'll have like 14 or 15,000 of these, I would have said you're insane. But I also have gotten business from Twitter. I've gotten job offers from Twitter. I've received invitations to speak from Twitter, conversations where I put together an ebook a few years ago that were all based via Twitter. It's been a growing community and very easy and quick to interact and very easy to search. So when you see all this, don't get overwhelmed. It's very simple, and if you've never been on it, It's just one step at a time situation. And the last one that I spend probably the least amount of time on is Facebook. Now, I spend the time I spend very briefly. I will, really glance at some of my, just friends and things that I have on here. I really am not a huge fan of Facebook and staying on Facebook for business purposes. I will just be on here to interact. Like I showed you before, I'll share something daily, every other day. I just posted this on Sunday. I didn't open my laptop since Thursday. I'm still connected by my wireless devices, but I took some days off for my birthday. And, I have pictures on here, pictures of the beers we were drinking. It's just all personal. The golf where I was playing. But other than that, I have them interconnected to who I am. And that's pretty much it. I utilize a couple of things for business, and let me just show you what I mean by that. So I always look, for different companies. So just doing Astra, what's on here? I'll just look and see AstraZeneca careers. This is how I use Facebook. I don't even know what this page is, and I'm not pulling this up for, purposes of being AstraZeneca whatsoever. I just like to look around for different companies and just using this so that we have an example. Companies are on here. A lot of them are. I use SAP as my big example if you're a part of my talk, and the reason why is I think they do a great job with their page, with what they have. They have a careers page and they interact quite a bit. My old company, ClickView, does a great job as well of updating information. I utilize Facebook just like this. I'll go in here and just check out what the news is on a company that I want, and I'll simply share it. If I am utilizing Facebook in a professional manner and I worked at ClickView, I would simply take a look here. They have a pro golf app, and simply just take a look at it. Okay, this is from a third-party website. It's not directly from ClickTech. And again, I read this earlier today. I would read it, and I find it pretty interesting because I know ClickView, working there, and what they're all about, but it's golf. Golf is, for me personally, something I like to do. And if I was utilizing this on Facebook, I would simply share it. And I'll share it to my own timeline. And I always put something out here. Check it out. Looks like I can track my golf better with Click. Something as simple as that. Now, some people, many people, ask me, Marty, why would you maintain a Facebook page with anything to do personally or professionally, vice versa, kind of crossing everything? It's really simply just to have one. I know quite a few professionals that don't interact whatsoever. They just have it so that if somebody searched for them, they could find it. And it's really as simple as that. And there you see just a click view. Keep it relevant if you're on Facebook. So either keep it 100% or 95% personal and only a tiny little bit that related to your job or your work. If you're in a job search, I highly recommend utilizing Facebook to just let people know that you're looking or what you've done, and we went over that during the presentation. But just on a day-to-day basis, you want to have a presence on all of these. People connect very, very quickly nowadays via social media. And the whole purpose of being able to round this down to 20 minutes, and we went just a little bit over, now being 2:44, was just to show you a few different finer things. But I can have that down in about 10 minutes or less. And it really just becomes prepared and being able to utilize it so you have a presence. And once you get into it, you'll start to connect and you start to interact. And that's what we talked about back in June, was how do you connect, how do you interact, how do you build that social presence? Well, if you don't put anything out there, nothing's going to happen. If you want to utilize it for research purposes, for in professional research, Twitter and LinkedIn are phenomenal for it. If you're looking for job purposes, or even hiring purposes for your own team, all three are relevant. There's a lot of different combinations. The biggest thing is when you start to get out there, is just to start utilizing a couple of quick things. And that's really the purpose of today. Want to wrap up with a few different things, then we'll just open up for different questions. I saw a couple pop up already. In utilizing and making it easy for LinkedIn and Twitter, you could subscribe to Google updates on certain keywords. And if you just go to Google, and if you go underneath when you're signed in, I don't want to pull mine up because I have some private information. I'm logged into my own. Well, you go into Gmail if you have Gmail, or you just go in. But how this works, I'll just show you real quick, is bad. I'm going to search for just bad Rhino. Okay, so this is the keyword. You see a variety of different things. It doesn't look exactly like this when you do the alerts, but I could set up an alert for just this keyword, and I'll put that in my notes because I don't want to do it here because I have my personal email account open. I'll put that in my notes. But what you can do is you can search for bad Rhino. Anytime the keyword bad Rhino pops up, you get an email alert, and it shares with you. You can get them weekly, daily, or whenever that keyword pops up with new content. So, for example, using the Phillies, if you typed in, I want to have everything about the Philadelphia Phillies, that comes up, any news, you could get that. You have the content and the links right there, and then you could share them immediately to LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. And it saves you a step in searching every day. You can take something from the night before on the Phillies and share it via Twitter the next day, and you can simply just quickly type something in there. Whoop. Just like so. You can simply go, saw this Phillies article, and then you would just put what the topic was. Can you believe it? And those little things are there. Now your update's done because you set up a Google alert to get there. So that's one thing that you can take a look at. The other thing that I love, that has made my life, and ever since LinkedIn did this, has made my life easy. And let's see something here. All right. So my buddy Dave, he just responded, I wouldn't say I'm stressed because I know I'll manifest Wi-Fi exactly when I require it. However, I do desire it. I'm just getting engagement. Dave is an entrepreneur that lives out in California, and he just responded to that by the one post I put out there. So just in real time, you see how this works, and I think that's important to see. So going back to the content, is you have groups and companies. Let's start off with just real quick on a company. These are the companies I follow, and you have companies here that you may want to follow that LinkedIn suggests. Again, here's ClickTech, and we utilize this example on the Facebook. I manage a company page here, that's why it's popping up there for InSource. And we have Philadelphia Business Journal, Razorfish, simple content that you can quickly take a look at. And if you already know it, you can share it pretty quickly. Say, I'm a small business owner, so here's small business can apply for 10 great grants. That's something I'm interested in, but it's something I want to share pretty quickly. So you can utilize not only Google Alerts, but LinkedIn groups. You can utilize the companies, the influencers, which we already showed you, just to find all this content to share quickly, just to get in the habit of doing it. You don't have to spend too much time to do it. The last one that I use pretty quickly would be something like Forbes. Here's something. This was an older thing that I had come across a while ago. This was from 2009. So this could be something here where you could share this, or anything else from something like Forbes, or quickly just going to Philly.com. whether it's sports or something around business or something in your local neighborhood. That really works very well out on social media. People think, oh, this content is going to be the hardest part. How do I do it? Just simplify it. Find something that comes from a reputable website, share it, and engage with a question. And it's as simple as that, especially for personal accounts. For business accounts and things like that, it gets a little bit more complex because there's more of a strategy. But for somebody that's looking to just get involved in social media, this will get it done for you in 20 minutes or less per day. So those are all the high-level things. I will send out the notes and everything from this, and I'll get them over to El Marie quickly. And I am free to answer any questions, so let me see if there's any in here. Oh. Sure. No problem. I know I'm looking at them right now, so there's tons of them here. I'm sorry if everybody can see that because it says privately, but I don't see anything on here that would be bad for sharing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. Instagram. I'm going to open up my account here. Can you still see my desktop, El Marie? Okay, cool. So what I love about Instagram is it connects everything. I can connect my Instagram account to Twitter and Facebook. So it's like a real simple way for me to hit all three all at once. So to answer the question, Instagram for business purposes is exploding. There's definitely a big trend moving away from Facebook to Instagram. What it all entails, I'll be honest with you, I've been learning in real time. We have 2 new clients that came on board in the past week, just over a week actually, that have been really utilizing Instagram very, very well. I wouldn't even tell an individual how to utilize it for certain things yet, because I don't really know. But for marketing, straight up marketing, bars, restaurants, and products. So whether it's sunglasses, clothes, specialty foods, it's exploding, and especially beers and brewing is also exploding. And the trend, as you mentioned there, moving away from Facebook to Instagram is 100% accurate. Things have been moving that way. Facebook's still the big gorilla, but Instagram is exploding. But you also have to remember too, Facebook owns Instagram. Yeah. Sure. So what's essentially important here, and again, I mentioned this when I was down for a presentation back in June. You can utilize mine as a good example, but don't use it as a rule of thumb. I do these sessions weekly, and I change a lot of things on my profile constantly. So the one thing that you want to make sure is, one, the picture. You must have a good picture. Don't have a blank one. You want to have, for job search purposes, what you do. Okay, so when you fill this out, this will be one of the first questions. Put something in there of what you do. You want to have your location in there. Okay, a summary, it can be very simple. Just 2 sentences, no more than 3, of what you do, or just quick bulletized with some keywords in there. And what I mean by keywords is, when I had tons of recruiting experience over the years, I recruited in information technology, marketing, human resources, accounting and finance, software sales, and engineering. Those were the mainstays over my career in recruiting that I did. So those were my keywords. So let's say you were a scientist. You want to have the keywords or the areas and the research that you've done, that would be keywords in your resume that you want people to see or be able to search on. So you want to have a decent summary. Under experience, you want to make sure that you have the company, okay? You want to make sure you have a title, and you also want to make sure you have a little bit about the company and or what you've done there. Mine currently is about the companies. This is not one you want to follow, but I do have down here some of my older things. Just like my resume would say, I would have bullet points on what I did. Okay, so when I was with TapFin, which was actually TWC, I was on-site recruiting at multiple clients. So I would just pull out a lot of the highlights here, and you want to mirror your resume. What you don't want to do is have your resume look exactly like your LinkedIn profile and vice versa. So you want to have some bullets in there that stand out. Now this to me was pretty much the meat of what I did, so you want to have that in there. As far as education, I left my internships in there, and I always list all my education. Dates are optional. You don't have to. I put the dates in there just to connect with alumni, more or less. It's easier to search on there. You absolutely want to have something that's at least under here, either in one of these three areas: interest, honors, and organizations. It can just be one if you wanted to, just some interest, like what you're interested in. And again, these should be keywords that you are interested in. Like I have golf. So you could search on golf, and everybody that's in my network that likes to play golf from around the world, I can find, which is pretty cool. I could then take this list and do a variety of different things, but that's way more advanced than what we're talking about today. So just to recap real quick, you want to have your jobs listed, that you have titles, okay, and you want to make sure you list the company, and make sure you pick the right company so you have something like this pops up. You want to have a solid summary, a good picture, and you want to have this line here filled out, what you do or what you want to do. As simple as that. Sure, I have a couple of questions that popped in here. There's one that I think is really good. A career standpoint, what's the goal of using social media? And then it lists visibility, finding connection, others. So from a career standpoint, the goal is just being able to be found. So visibility is number one. Finding connections to network with are the two, is the next one, is just increasing your network without having to go out and press the flesh, so to speak, and shake hands and do all that all the time. Social networking is an easy way to do that. The biggest one is visibility. Recruiters, from a career standpoint, if you're looking for a different position, search social media quite often. So if you're out there, it's easier to be found. Visibility, I just want to make sure that I have a professional appearance out there. And I think that's the biggest thing, is if you are applying for a job, or if you're working with somebody, or you're, looking to hire for somebody on your team, social media is an easy way to get to know somebody pretty quickly. I don't know how many times I was on the other end when I was the interviewer, and the interviewee would come in and at least know not only about ClickView, but then they would know a little bit about me, and it made the conversation a lot easier to have, and the questions and interaction was good. So the goal is using social media from a career standpoint is to get to know peers in your industry, be visible, and finding connections that you can network with. Would answer that question. I have 2 or 3 more, El Marie, unless you want to take one from the audience. Sure. Yep. Absolutely. Well, there's 2 more, and since this is being recorded, what I'll do is is answer them if that's okay. It'll only take me a minute to answer both of these, but I actually think they're pretty good. The first one was, when you started with social media, did you have goals in mind? And that's a good question. Yeah, my goal was to be more visible and to be more network and to be a recruiter, and it was the easy way to do it. The other question is there a difference in how you use social media when you work for a corporation versus working as a consultant? Yeah, if you work for a corporation and as a consultant, I would say the rule of thumb for both is just don't share private information. And other than that, there's really no differences. They're your own personal profile. If you wouldn't say it in public, don't say it on social media. And that was those were the last two questions, El Marie. I just thought they were pretty good. Okay, thank you. And if anyone has any other questions, just contact El Marie and you can get in touch with me. I'll be more than happy to answer them.